Guys, I figured out why it's called Echoes of Aincrad. Check this out. Hello! See? The game's so empty, you can hear echoes all throughout Aincrad. They said I was spreading misinformation because I asked an NPC to talk about their experience in the dev game when the demo was obviously only in the beta state. That's on me, guys. I messed up. I'll own up to that one. But hey, here we are in the full release. The dev game has started, everyone's lives are on the line, so what say you, good sir? How are you feeling? Well, he must be shy. What about you, madam? Any thoughts on being stuck in this madman's dev game? Okay, well, to be fair to Bandai, most women wouldn't talk to me anyway. Echoes of Aincrad is arguably the best Sword Art Online game we've gotten so far. From a story perspective, it pulls you in immediately. The beta test opening hit me with a wave of nostalgia for those old MMO days of meeting random people and forming a party. When the dev game reveal happened, I got those same chills I had the first time I watched Sword Art Online over a decade ago. I was sitting there grinning at my screen like the Deku meme. The English dub is also phenomenal. Laurie's male voice actor, who I still can't find the proper credit for, absolutely kills it despite having limited screen time. And Jessica Peterson steps in and carries the energy effortlessly. Honestly, after hearing this performance, it's surprising these games didn't get English dubs much earlier. And what impressed me the most though was the pacing. Previous SAO games, especially Alicization Lycris, had notoriously long openings. You would spend hours reading visual novel style scenes and tutorial prompts before the game really let you play. That structure was tolerable if you're already a Sword Art fan, but it was off-putting to people just looking to play a JRPG, and it made replaying those games a chore. Echoes of Aincrad feels completely different. You're in combat almost immediately, the tutorials are brief, and they're integrated in the story instead of constantly stopping the action. Visually, the game isn't stunning per se, but it doesn't really need to be. It looks fine as it is. And those first few minutes of exploring Aincrad are genuinely exciting. But the game's biggest problems show up almost immediately. The starting dungeon overstays its welcome. Long, empty corridors with a couple of enemies sprinkled about, a few chests here and there with nothing particularly exciting in them, and an overabundance of crafting material you'll lose interest in collecting after the first dozen or so. This is also the entirety of Echoes of Aincrad. That introduction dungeon, long corridor, enemy chest, collect, safe zone, mini boss, enemy chest, collect, safe zone, long ass barrier animation, cutscene, quest boss. That is the entire gameplay loop. That's it. Everything you just did in that starting tutorial is what you'll be doing again for the next 30 to 40 hours with little to no variation. Understand this, Echoes of Aincrad is likely the best Sword Art game we've ever had, and still a fundamentally low-quality JRPG. This is a barely acceptable $30 AA game masquerading as a $70 AAA title. Let's start with the music. Do you hear it? 'Cause I don't. I don't know if it was a bug or a feature, but half the time the music wasn't even playing. I had to check my settings to make sure I didn't accidentally turn it off. You're traversing these boring, large maps and you can't even get a decent ballad in the background. Speaking of traversal, exploration is what you'll be doing 70% of the time, and it really sucks. The entire exploration loop boils down to this. Run into a new area, but don't actually explore it yet, that's not how we do things here. Activate the safe zone. The safe zone will tell you exactly where everything is. Run from chest to chest, one-shotting the same trash mobs from hour 1 and triple tapping the elites. After that, you'll collect your useless ass consumable or coal, and maybe 1 in every 10 chests will have a blueprint for a weapon you don't use or an armor piece you won't build. Want to explore Aincrad yourself and discover the world? Nope. Don't bother. Here's a correct path to get to your next chest, your next shrine, and your next quest objective. And don't even think about taking shortcuts. Your custom character has apparently never heard of leg day because falling more than 2 feet instantly shatters both his knees. This is what Bandai thinks fans wanted? Does this capture the spirit of Sword Art Online to you? I mean, it makes sense why this is called Echoes of Aincrad, because it's so diluted from what Aincrad should be, it becomes a poor mimicry, an echo. And get this, there is no free roam. If you thought the restrictive exploration was frustrating in the demo, just wait until you can't explore the full game. You know, I think I might actually be on to what Bandai is doing. Player freedom is too much for Sword Art fans to handle. Bandai is actually looking out for the player by severely limiting what they can do, reducing their stress and cognitive toll. Wow, thank you, Bandai. Even the enemy variety makes sense when you look at it through that lens. There are a grand total of what, 7 enemy types in this game? But hey, at least they come in different shapes and sizes. Hope you like multicolored versions of boar, wolf, ratman, and plants because it's all you're gonna get. It's actually a great value when you think about it. $70 game, that's what, $10 per enemy? In this economy? Oh, wow, thank you Bandai. But let's not stop there. Combat is a highlight in this game, and in the spirit of reducing stress, Bandai chose to opt out of giving you spears, katanas, scythe, claws, martial arts, and a skill tree. Wow, thank you. But don't worry, you can still use scythe and katana as visual categories in the two-handed axe and sword branch, even though they're their own weapon types in-universe. Guys, I'm gonna be honest, combat is basic as hell and just boils down to dash attacking trash mobs, one combo and a sword skill on an elite, and terrible, unreadable boss fights where you just hope you dodge the screen-wide AoE and dump your skills on an opening. Hey, did you think that slow motion heavy attack was cool? Well great, get ready to watch it 200 more times and completely lose spatial awareness as the camera zooms in and reorients itself mid-boss fight. And people keep saying combat carries this game. Compared to modern action RPGs, it barely clears the minimum. Playing Echoes of Aincrad after experiencing the Relink DLC is just brutal. It makes Echoes of Aincrad look 10 years older overnight. And even if you do think the combat is good enough to carry the game, you're only fighting 7 or 8 enemy types. How much fun can you really have fighting the same reskinned, resized boar over and over again? But hey, maybe I'm just being too harsh. Maybe Bandai's just giving us that faithful adaptation we've all been asking for. I mean, realistically, there weren't a lot of enemy types on floor 1 and 2, right? I guess they're just being lore accurate. Let's talk about lore accuracy. Why is it that people always say this game is being lore accurate only when it's to defend some shitty game mechanic? Where are the in-game events? Why aren't there players or NPCs in the field? Well actually, that's because there's only 10k people playing and everyone knows they stayed in the town of beginnings, you filthy LARPer. Okay, cool, makes sense, that's lore accurate. So what is the lore accurate reason I can't swap weapons in the field? What is the lore accurate reason my character can't swim? I mean, thank God we didn't go up to floor 4, you know, the one that's filled with water? Oh, and in lore, players did grind the first floor to safely level up and be over leveled in the area. So why is it that enemies also level up with the player character? What's the lore accurate reason for that? Why is it only lore accurate to justify poor and lazy game design? But again, maybe I'm being too harsh, maybe I'm the bad guy. Quick, Argo, find me a reason to praise this game. Where is it? Where is it, girl? Did you find something? I will give this game 0 flowers. Even when they get something right, it's still marred and shit. Take for example, the story. The story in this game is actually pretty good. It has a darker theme, it has real stakes. Sayu's story? No spoilers, but I'm not gonna lie, they did that shit. Atlas would be proud. But here's the thing, we finally get to make our own character. We finally get to experience Aincrad from an original point of view, and Bandai completely forgets we're even there. We are not remotely relevant to the story. Iori is obviously the main character, and we might as well be a summonable rabid dog at her side. We don't speak, we don't make suggestions, we don't contribute to the narrative at all. We just grunt, nod, and attack. Hell, Iori even forgot we were there when she went with Cal to Teardrop Cave in the beta.
Cal and I passed through here not that long ago. Cal and I.
It's just so lazy. They couldn't even write us into the story. Again, no spoilers, but as you work your way to the floor 1 boss, you're gonna see for yourself just how lazily written this game is. They couldn't even figure out a way to make us a part of the story of Aincrad. I am genuinely so disappointed and frankly baffled by how we are talking about this game. Why is everyone just okay with saying, yeah, it's not worth $70, but for $30 and some mods, this would be a really great game? That is just so unacceptable. Do people not understand how massive Sword Art Online is to anime? Whether you love Sword Art Online or hate it, you cannot tell the story of modern anime without talking about Sword Art. It changed the industry. It kicked open the door for the isekai boom. And we are still seeing that influence over a decade later. It might as well be the modern Ava. I mean, I'm not saying it's as good as Ava. Don't misunderstand me. Somebody's gonna raise a pitchfork for that. Sword Art Online is so influential that to this day, you can give a guy black hair, hit him with Truck-kun, and isekai him into a video game and print money. Why is it so controversial to expect a $70 game based on one of anime's biggest franchises to actually feel like a $70 game on day one? You should want more for this IP. You should demand more. Because I already did what people are saying to do now. I already voted with my wallet. I bought Hollow Realization. I bought Fatal Bullet. I bought Alicization Lycris. I got the pre-order bonuses. I bought the DLCs. I kept hearing the next one will be the one. And now here we are. This was supposed to be the Sword Art Online game. The one that finally captured the feeling of Aincrad. The one that would be good enough to bring the Sword Art fans and non-fans alike. And once again, Bandai has made a Sword Art game that only Sword Art fans could love. It is a game full of potential that will never be capitalized on. I have been playing these games for over a decade. This is Bandai's 9th mainline Sword Art Online game. I know how this plays out. At what point do we stop talking about potential? How much more time do they need? How many more games? How many more chances? Why can't one of the biggest anime franchises in history get the AAA game it deserves? This is a AAA studio, is it not? Why does everyone praise this game with an asterisk? It's good, but not worth $70. It's good after a few updates. It would be great if the game had mods. Just wait for the modding community to fix it. Why can't it just be great as is? I don't hate Sword Art Online. I don't even hate Echoes of Aincrad. I hate watching one of anime's biggest franchises, one of my favorite series, settle for just barely good enough. You should want more. Because after 9 games, $70, and a decade of experience, just good enough really shouldn't be good enough anymore.